Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan,
And I'm Jack.
and we are coming to you on this bye week for the Boston Cannons. So we won't get to see our boys play this weekend, but we do have, I'd say, probably the homecoming I was looking forward to the most after our own in the Denver Outlaws. Uh,
Yeah,
and if any of you saw the reel, if you follow the Roughriders, their supporter group, or Max, who we had on a couple weeks ago, you'll know why. They have been pumping out some amazing content, and they really took it up another level this weekend. Um, with custom chaps, I think a custom cowboy hat as well,
yeah,
logo on it.
that was something. And my father's favorite actor is John Wayne, so I grew up watching old westerns. I've always had such a soft spot in my heart for
Mm.
cowboys and the Wild West. I love that. I'm low key. I'm a Boston guy. Obviously, cannons are always going to be my number one. But if the Outlaws had been the team that joined the PLL right after the merger, and it was just
Mm.
Outlaws Lacrosse Club, I totally would have latched onto them so hard just because of the team mascot identity is by far my favorite when you remove the city
Yeah.
connection. Obviously, Cannons is so cool for Boston, and being a Boston guy, I'm always going to be a Boston Cannons guy. But I just, because of my love for Cowboys in general, I have such a soft spot in my heart for the Denver Outlaws. So love that they put out that video. So well done, and so looking forward to kind of all the yeehaw touches that they'll have at their homecoming this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So their lead I think they also have a bit of a bigger leadership group than we do. I think Max said there's gonna be five of them in that outfit, which is
That's
just gonna be
impressive.
awesome. And I just can't wait to see how they'll rile the crowd up because I would imagine a lot of people in the Denver area in Colorado, the whole mountain region are excited about lacrosse being back there, or professional lacrosse. Obviously, the University of Denver still has a team.
Right.
Um,
Well, and we know firsthand Max can bring the juice.
oh yeah,
He
yeah.
is an energetic human, so you know that he is going to be pumping up that Rough Rider section.
Yeah. And they got two fantastic games to pump it up with. Maybe go through all of them here. Just talk about their implications for the Cannons. Um,
Right.
and not too many as far as like playoff stuff or seeding can really be decided. Was trying to go through that and there wasn't a lot that could be done. But
Even with Champ Series, like it's just everything's so in flux.
yeah, it's
With it,
like
there's so many teams. It's obviously 6 out of 8 teams making the playoffs, and then like the fact that it's just overall seeding after the buys just adds to it because it I think there would be way more playoff implications if it was just
it was
number
four out of eight.
one gets the bye and then 2 and 3 in the
Yeah.
conference play. Because obviously, once someone gets a bye, you know that, oh, well, you're not gonna. Because at this point, if that was the case, you would know for a fact that it's Cannon's Whip Snakes
Right.
in the Eastern Conference semifinal. It would be the only question would be who's two, who's three, but the fact that it's just across the league, it's like it's literally going to come down to the final weekend, which honestly is what you want. You don't
Oh,
want
definitely.
everything to be decided in Denver and then have no one with nothing to play for in Salt Lake City next weekend. So the fact that there's so little that can be decided this weekend is a good thing for the league in
Yeah, for
general, I
sure.
guess.
So maybe I'll just touch briefly on the things that can be decided is
Right.
one, the Redwoods can be eliminated from the playoffs if they lose to the Water Dogs, which I mean, I guess that's the team you want to play if you need a win to keep your season alive. Um,
True.
and then if they lose, they would technically also need a couple other games to be decided. Specifically, they need the Outlaws to beat the Whips and then lose to the Chaos. But realistically, if they lose, they're done because their goal differential is just so bad. They're at -32. The next closest are the Chaos at -3. So I mean, I
Making
remember,
up 30 goals in 2 games would be a tall task.
especially given how this team has struggled to score. Um,
Yeah.
so, if you're a Redwoods fan or a Redwoods hater, definitely tune into that one. But that's definitely going to decide whether they go to the playoffs or not. I think they've already been eliminated from Champ Series. And then if the Atlas win, they clinch a spot in Champ Series because they'd have 7 wins. And then there's a bunch of teams with 4 that could only um, match them.
It's a six.
Well, no, there's a couple 4 and 3, so they could still get to 7 and 3 as
Ah.
well. But
Hmm.
I believe at the very least they play each other.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we have the Outlaws and um,
Archers.
Chaos, so they're both 4 and 4 and 4 and 3. So
Hmm.
whoever loses that game is not eliminated from the champ series. But um, anyway, I believe
Right.
that would secure them a spot there, and would do a hell of a lot towards securing them the number 1 seed, which we've talked about how much of an advantage that is or isn't. But you never want to lose on purpose. So I'm sure they'll be going out there to win.
Yeah. It we talked about it with Jeff Trainer, even, so the players don't want that buy, at least seems the Cannons don't.
Yeah.
I would guess that the rest of the teams honestly feel similar to them in that regard. That being said, like you said, you're not when you're an athlete and you're a professional, you everything is off
Yeah.
when the game starts, whether you think that it's good or bad to have a bye. Those guys got to where they are because of how competitive they are. So there's nothing in them that will allow them to actively try to lose a game. They are going to go out there and play their hardest because that's all they know how to do.
Yeah. And I think it's also just worth remembering that last year the Archers were the number 1 team. They got a bye and they wound up winning the championship. Um, I don't
Right.
have on the top of my head how long the gap between games was, but
Hmm.
um, it's not like it's a death sentence if they get the number 1 seed. It's just, I wouldn't want to have a long time off. And I
Right.
mean, this won't happen, I think, again because of goal differential. But if the Whips win their last 2 games and the Atlas lose, um, or sorry, yeah, if the Whips, this is their last game. Um,
Right.
the Whips could theoretically be the number 1 seed, but they also have a bye next week. So they go August 9th
They
to
could
September
go
2nd
without a
no,
game
to September 7th. They go 28
a
days, 4 full
month. Wow.
August 9th to September 7th without playing. Now,
What is
that
the
is
Whips record right now?
the Whips are 5-4, the Atlas are 6-2. So, um,
So
but
if
let me
if the
let me look at
Whips
goal
win, they'd
differential.
be 6-4.
Yeah, they both be 6-4, but the
If the
Atlas are
Outlaws lose
plus
out,
24, the Whips are +4 in goal differential. So
so they would need to
win both
win.
games.
Well, no. Well, it depends on how badly the Atlas lose their 2 games.
Yeah, so if they win, say by 5, the Atlas lose by 7 and 8, then I don't know the tiebreakers beyond that. I head-to-head record, which is also 1-1.
Split because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
Atlas
They beat the
won
Whips week
in
1, and then the Whips beat them week
later in the
3.
in yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Yeah. 4, week 4 in
yeah,
in Minneapolis.
yes. So we're
Yeah.
I wouldn't keep too close an eye on that unless the Atlas lose to the Archers by a
Hmm.
lot. But it is something that's theoretically possible. And just to go 28 days, like if that actually happens and the Whips go 4 weeks without playing, I'm hammering their opponent's money line in that game because
That would
no
be
way they're going to be
crazy.
sharp.
No.
Um, Also, just talking about the Whips, I think part of the reason, so the first trade, which I did not realize how late the PLO trade deadline is. It's next Tuesday, August 13th, like before the final week of the year.
That is late.
That is so late. That is the last week of the year.
I mean,
But they,
it's such a small league. Well, it's such a small league, and almost everyone makes the playoffs. So, like, you talk about people are wanting to push the baseball trade deadline back because now that they have 3 wild cards,
yeah,
you've got so many teams are still in the mix. So it makes for a less eventful deadline because so many teams want to buy and only few want to sell. So if you push it later on, it allows for more separation in the standings. So I think that's smart on the PLL's part, is like we said in the opening, basically nothing can be decided. So you Cannons, Atlas, Whip Snakes, we know are in the playoffs. Water Dogs, we know are not. So all four of the West teams still have a shot. The Redwoods probably would be a team that would sell at
Yeah.
this point, and
Maybe they
I
will if they
guess that
lose.
also means though that like the other three Western teams know that they are likely getting a spot. So I guess you would still want to bolster because you get further in the playoffs if you're better. But like even with it at so late in the season, because 6 out of 8 teams make the playoffs, it's basically just those last two teams that would sell.
Yeah, I would think, unless
Like
some guy really hated the team he was on, which doesn't seem like anyone does.
right. Like no team is gonna be like, oh well, like we made the playoffs, but you know what? We barely squeaked in at 500, so let's trade someone. Like I don't know, Carolina, for example, like they get in at 500.
Or even at four and
That
six.
that like even at 4-6, like all you need to do is win 3 games.
Yeah, they went 2-8
That
in the regular season and won the championship.
like, are they really going to trade? Well, I guess I was about to say like trade Blaze Weird into the Atlas, but like Atlas don't need a goalie, but like that kind of thing. It's like, well, let's get some value out of one of our top players. Like, no, you're gonna try to win the championship because you're in the playoffs. That's what you do. So
Yeah.
like, obviously you have to have a trade deadline. I guess you don't have to, but you kind of do. But
Well, in the
it,
playoffs, it shouldn't be allowed.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
So you do have to have a trade deadline, but because so many teams make the playoffs, it's like you're never gonna see an in-season trade. Rarely.
Or yeah, really rarely.
I mean, obviously we did see Conrad just got moved
Yeah,
to, was it the Whips that
the
got
whips,
him?
which is what I originally wanted to mention. I think part of the reason that trade happened is because Dordovic was placed on IR with a jaw injury. So, uh,
Yeah, and the Whips are eliminated, so they're like, okay, sure, we'll
or
give
the dogs.
someone
Yeah,
up. Or sorry, Dogs,
I
yeah.
do that all the time.
But like no one else is no one
Yeah,
else is giving up players right
yeah.
now,
And
even California.
I hope, I hope we see the Redwoods do that if they lose, just because that's like interesting. Um, I doubt the Cannons would pick anyone up just because I think they really like the roster they have. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't I don't
all right. Now
know
I'm
who
talking myself
you
out of this because I don't think the Cannons would trade for anyone, and I don't want any of the other teams getting any better, especially the teams in the East.
yeah, but I mean, what is anyone gonna give up? The
Um,
Water Dogs aren't giving up McCarl or Sowers.
no. The
Like,
um the PLL posted an article this morning that I read, arguing that the Woods should trade Pinnell to the Chaos.
I saw
But
that.
yeah, which I could. I don't know who the number one pick is going to be, or probably the early favorite would be CJ Kirst, who would, I assume, just replace Rob Pinnell. So
Right.
that's a reason to do it. But if like, well, I guess if the Dogs beat the Redwoods, then they'd be tied on record. So not that would the number one pick would still be up in the air, but that would be a tough call to make um, before you've secured it, in hopes that you
Yeah, it yeah, we need more teams
we do.
and we need fewer teams in the playoffs to make this kind of stuff more exciting.
Yeah. Um, I was bummed a few episodes of the Rabel podcast one-on-ones ago. They said expansion probably in line with the 2028 Olympics, which
I thought they
hopefully
were
that means
saying that was when they would go to the permanent model,
I thought
permanent
he
home
said
city
that the two
model.
things would kind of happen together. Um,
I
I
don't
hope
know.
I'm wrong because I agree with you. I think add two teams in Minneapolis and Texas so that chaos move to the east. Those new
Yep.
teams will stay in the west. Keep the
Yep.
number of teams in the playoffs at six, maybe even reduce it to five, like the NFL had for a while, of like four division winners, one wild card. And just another once you get to buy, and then the next 14, like the next four best teams by record. But no, keep it at six because they want to do
I want, yeah, if you have 5-5 in the conferences, I want
one, two,
one in
three.
each conference to get a bye and then 2 and 3 to play each other. And I want, like, I know that it's still a tour-based league, but it would be so cool for like the 2-3 games to be at the home cities, but obviously they can't book out
Yeah.
the stadiums
Yeah,
like
that's the real big loss in the tour-based model is the playoffs. In that, man, if you had a Cannons home playoff game at Harvard Stadium, especially
that'd
against a
be
team in the
electric.
East, it would be insane.
Like championship game, totally fine neutral site. That's what they do for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It would be sick to have just a one. Imagine if the Super Bowl was just at the better team's stadium, though. Like,
yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
know
Super Bowl prices is
logistic,
the,
I know
but
logistics would be a nightmare,
yeah, but I mean,
but just that idea of a one-off
yeah,
championship game still being at the better team's stadium would be really exciting. PLL's not there,
no,
but man, that would be cool. I mean, maybe when they go to the home and away model, they might be able to.
it'll be
eh,
easier for sure.
yeah,
Um,
but we're going down a rabbit
yeah,
hole,
we are
and
going down a rabbit hole. We should talk about this year's playoffs probably,
yeah,
or at
yeah,
least this year's games in Denver, because as we said, not a lot can be established besides the Redwoods getting eliminated. Um,
right.
and I think we've mentioned offhand each of the matchups, but we can just talk about them a little bit and what we're rooting for as Cannons fans, and I assume you all are too who are listening to this. So first game of homecoming, obviously we got the Outlaws playing the suddenly red hot Whipsnakes.
Go
Um,
Outlaws.
yep, we are absolutely pulling for the Outlaws in that, and not just because we like Max, he's our friend, and it's Denver's homecoming, but also obviously we definitely want the Cannons to be. We say the two seed in the East, it would be the three seed overall, whatever the seeding.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've
we
complained
don't,
about that enough.
and it's
Um,
the Eastern Conference rivalry, and the Whips literally just beat us a few days ago. So
extra bitter, yeah.
yeah, sorry, Matt and Max and Micah. Like Maryland sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, go eat a crab. Go wave your flag around because everyone in Maryland loves their flag an
They
absurd
do
amount.
love that flag.
And
They do love that
I won't
flag.
say it's ugly. It's certainly unique among state flags. A lot of
It
people
stands
say.
out. It is
Yeah.
something. It is not a normal flag. I will give
Yeah.
them that. It's something.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that. Um, Along with Texas and California, probably the three most recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, go eat a crab and wave your flag around and watch Lamar Jackson in training camp. And then second game,
Do you see
eh,
Lamar Jackson invited Harlem Lacrosse to
yeah,
Baltimore Ravens training camp and they have a Lamar Jackson on their team?
yep,
That
that's
I
so
was like,
good.
that's awesome. Lamar Jackson meets Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
Lamar
man, he
Jackson,
would be
confirmed lacrosse guy.
so dangerous on the lacrosse field. Imagine him like how Jared Bernhardt was in college or in the PLL if
That's
he decides to come back.
speed.
Yeah, yeah,
Him
Lamar
is
Jack.
like
Yeah, like
an O
imagine
mid coming
Sowers
out the
but 6 foot
box.
three.
I think Jackson just sprints out of the box.
I mean, honestly, he can do whatever he wants except not goalie because he's that's a waste of those legs.
Yeah,
Um,
but
yeah, that is a
anyways,
yeah.
let's second matchup on Friday.
Second matchup
Andrew,
is the bottom feeders, um, Philly versus California. I mean, it's what they're doing. So this
go
is
Cali,
yep. I would definitely say go Cali.
dilly Philly. Oh my gosh, you remember that kid that came on the Mitchell Pelkey episode, the live show from our homecoming, and there was the
I
kid who had the take that the Water Dogs weren't gonna win another game all season, and they all roasted him, Uh, and they're like, that is a ridiculous take. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Water Dogs haven't won since
no.
that kid said it. So if the Water Dogs lose to Cali this weekend, and then I don't even know who they have next week. It's New York, Atlas,
Oh yeah,
Atlas.
they're
But like,
definitely
there's
losing
no
that
way
game
they beat New York next week.
unless New
Like,
York just really takes their foot off the gas. Yeah,
but like, uh, Philly really might not win another game
yeah.
this
I,
year.
I do think they're
I
gonna
want to
win.
hear if that happens. I want to hear what Pelkey's got to say about that
Yeah,
because
I
they
do think they're
gave
gonna
that
beat the
kid.
Redwoods. Unfortunately,
I don't
um,
know, dude.
the
Phillies,
Redwoods just look so bad.
yeah, but and Philly looks good.
Yeah, I just have more confidence in their players and not their coaches now. But like, I mean, obviously the record they've won one more game against Carolina somehow. Um, I don't know. I mean,
I don't.
we'll see. I don't have obviously. Um, I'm rooting for California, even though that does kind of ruin their tank if they do want to get CJ cursed. Um,
Yeah,
but
there. I don't ever foresee a scenario where I could root for the Philadelphia Water Dogs.
no, but actually, I take that back. It doesn't ruin their tank because, like you said, Philly plays the Atlas next week and California plays the Archers. So if they beat Philly, but then they lose, they both lose.
Yeah,
Wait, no, never mind. They need to win one more game. The Philly needs to win one more game, so it would ruin their tank. But yeah, I still can't bring myself to root for the Water Dogs. Um, so that's the I mean, maybe
Friday.
that'll turn into a good game. Who knows? It's also at 10:30 on
It
East
could,
Coast time,
yeah.
so
So
easy to turn
I'm
off.
not. Yeah, I'm not staying up for that. I'll see.
Uh,
I'll the two bottom feeders. It's like when you get like, you know, the old school like Panthers Jaguars on Thursday night football. It's like, all right, I don't have to worry about watching football this week. You're
yeah,
like, we're good. That's what that game is. Oh, it's Redwoods Water Dogs. I can just go to bed. I don't need to stay up and watch the cross tonight.
yeah, because that'll end after midnight over here. Um, Saturday we get back to good teams with the Atlas playing the Archers at 2:30 with
Go Archers.
huh?
Well,
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Archers. Um, I,
I can't root for New York.
no,
I'm
I
sorry,
can't root for New
Scott.
York. I think it'll be just a game where we can be entertained. Like I'm sure Teach Schellenberger and Dixon are going to do amazing things again. Um, although I don't know, like Dobson and they
I
have a good close deep, and
Yeah.
Graham Hossack is an eraser. Um, but the Archers got to be a little
I
worried after they had a comfortable lead last week and then it suddenly evaporated.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, they're yeah, tied with Denver, although their goal differential's better. I think they're +8 and Denver's +1. Um, and then the Chaos are 4-4, so half a game behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we close it off with Chaos and Outlaws. So Outlaws bookend the weekend as
That's
it.
the only game that's a toss up for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I'll probably say go Outlaws just because of
oh, I'm
it's
definitely rooting
there.
for the Outlaws. Yeah.
Oh no, I meant in my allegiance just because Jack Barlett's a BU guy,
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm always inclined to root for him.
Yeah.
And Andy Towers, OG Cannon.
Yep, that's true. Uh,
Um,
Plus,
but
as my friend that lives in Connecticut, I've gone to the Fairfield games with him the past couple of years.
yeah.
He's a Redwoods fan because of TD Early and went to Yale.
Hmm.
But he's been a like just the two games that we've seen of the Chaos play have been the best of the weekend. So it's like the vibes and the chaos. He just like I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Blaze Reed scoring, like the
Electric.
Kyle Jackson,
Oh yeah.
like hopping, throwing the ball under his feet goal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
Chaos
as
were the
much fun
first.
as is in previous years, probably, just as far as the
Yeah.
fancy offensive stuff they're doing. They don't have as many of the box guys.
Yeah, I mean Connor Field is with the Archers now.
Yeah.
That's the Chaos were the first team that I like chose as my favorite before I ever watched a game. I just liked their identity the most when the PLL tried to like brand the teams. I was like, you know what? Chaos sounds the most fun.
Yeah. And
And
they were that
then
first year.
they were very fun, but
Yeah.
got to root for the Outlaws on their homecoming. I
Yeah.
got Sorry, Red Legion. We can talk about this next week, but gotta root for the hometown boys, I think.
Yeah, no particular ill will for them at all. But well, one, I'd like to see a new team. Like if it's not the Cannons, definitely want to see a new team win the championship. Even though the Outlaws, going back to the MLL days, they have I think three.
Yeah,
Um,
that's different though,
yeah, it
because
is different. And man, Grant, like I've been a huge fan of Graham Bundy, seeing what he's done this year. Like
yeah.
he can just pull up and like talk about a gunslinger, like just not even like crow hopping into it, just like come off the pick, casually shoot at 102
Yeah,
is insane.
it
Uh,
is.
yeah, I think in my quest to get all teams jerseys, probably gonna go with the Bundy jersey, specifically the indigenous one with the buffalo.
I love that jersey. Oh my gosh. Again, Cannons guy, I have to love the fire the most, but
Yeah, and yeah,
like if you remove the teams from it, like Buffalo's probably my favorite animal. I just think they're so cool.
yeah,
So like it's just another thing where I'm like, damn, like why couldn't I have been born in Colorado? I'm
yeah.
just I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding.
Now
Uh,
I like we said these when they come out. I hope they like either one use these designs or very similar ones next year, or
yeah,
two, just like make that a thing you wear more often. Like
right? Oh,
it,
that'd be so cool.
yeah. The I was not a fan just because every team had the same logo last year. That Thunderbird was
Yeah,
kind of
it,
eh,
it's
but
it, it adds more variety, obviously. It
yeah, and
just
just they like everyone loved it. Like make a black one, a white one for the Outlaws, and blue one, white one for the Cannons, or a red one, red, white, blue,
ooh,
etc. Like just give that to
yeah,
us again. We love it so much.
yeah.
So
But
somehow we got talking about the Indigenous Heritage jerseys on Outlaws Homecoming.
well, that's it because it's the bye week pod. Like
It
there
is the bye
there's
week, yeah,
there's not much Cannons news to talk about, so we're just filling the time with
yeah,
whatever comes to mind.
yeah. Let me just check their Instagram right now, just in case we missed an update. I don't assume we did. Um,
On what? The Cannons Instagram?
yeah, like a football podcast I listen to for once in a while. He was like, we're coming up on an hour and a half of me talking. Let me just check my phone, make sure no one got traded while I've been talking here.
Oh
Which
yeah.
is a good. No, there's no updates, and didn't expect there to be. Uh,
Yeah, just some fun clips like that
yeah,
as running through breaking the stick.
yeah.
Oh, that was
It's
that was something we didn't talk about in the
no,
the game recap. That's just talk we talked about it with Jeff though, that's how you tell Chris and Pat apart, that Chris is just giant or no.
no. He
Wait,
said
what
Pat
was it?
was.
Pat.
Yeah, he
Oh,
really threw
so
Chris
so
under the
maybe
bus.
Chris heard what Jeff said and was like,
Maybe.
"Oh, okay, I'm gonna go away from it, get a little bit bigger." Oh,
Yeah,
you just
that's
ran
gotta.
through that check.
I know it's gotta like obviously hurt in the moment, but gotta probably want to save that highlight, especially
I
when you
think it's
score right
gotta
after.
it's one of those it hurts so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
I mean, hopefully everyone stays healthy, obviously, and that, probably not good if that happens to you too many times. I think we got to talk to Romar Dennis in Champ Series. He was like, I was like, what did it feel like breaking that stick on you? He was like, it hurt, man. The guy, like, the shaft stabbed him in the back. Something.
yeah,
Yeah, he was definitely playing
not
hurt in
fun.
Champ Series. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So let's see. We won't have a watch party, obviously, unless like people listen to this and really demand it. We can hang out somewhere. Because it's what, 8 p.m., 10:30 p.m. on a Friday, and then
yep.
2:30 and 7. So it's interesting they're separated a little bit
Oh,
more.
they're doing another. They did that in Philly. They're doing
Yeah.
sort of the entry exit
Yeah, which
separation. That is, I kind of like that.
yeah, I mean when in Fairfield we saw a few people who only came for their team's game, which I get if you don't care or you have somewhere else to be, but my thought was like the ticket gets me to two lacrosse games. I'm gonna watch two lacrosse games.
Yeah, I guess
Um
it depends on, yeah, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
If I don't know what the I assume the Roughriders crew are going to be there for everything because they're, lacrosse psychos like us. But
Yeah.
for the average fan, it probably is a little bit more convenient to save a little bit of money and just show up for your team's game. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Glad that I mean 8:30 is still a bit of a late start locally, but um, I would assume that Denver crowd has been a little lacrosse starved, at least in the professional ranks. And as you
I mean,
have
they've
mentioned a
been
couple
going to
times,
Denver every weekend
yeah.
or every year. The
Um,
PLL is
yeah, but
like
just that
touring
you have your
wise.
team to root for now.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they're definitely excited that the Outlaws
yeah,
are
and
back.
you've said this a couple times, like how great is it that they signed Eric Law in time for their homecoming?
Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Please let King Manny play in Utah next week. It's what is it, 3 weeks? Yeah. 3 weeks in a row
Yeah,
that
it was Fairfield, right before Fairfield
yeah.
signed them.
Fairfield, um, Cali, and Maryland.
Yep.
Brian,
We got to ask him about that. So, oh, geez, that really put the
yeah.
put the cart before the horse there. So, I think our Monday podcast is going to come out a little late because Monday we are interviewing Coach Holman for the second time. Um,
Oh, that's
yeah,
my first question, Brian. When are we going to see Will?
yeah, and you're going to write it in the doc in all caps and like 15 exclamation points.
Give me Will, Brian,
And
please.
it'll be in time. I think Monday. I assume the rosters aren't finalized yet, so maybe your impassioned plea will make it have an effect.
Maybe. Oh, that'd be something. That'd be something. Brian, let me draw up the roster this weekend. I
Yeah,
got you.
one
I
change.
got you. Uh,
Yeah. All
but
right.
on
So
that note,
yeah, we hope you. I mean, check out at least one of the Outlaws games just to see the crazy Rough Riders in the crowd. And I mean, obviously, good lacrosse except for that one game between the two lowest seeds.
uh,
Um,
hey,
but
it could
and
be it could be competitive though. Just two really bad teams. It's
yeah,
just you're just watching some really bad lacrosse.
like what happened in the NFL last year? The Raiders lost 3-0, and then
Yeah,
they scored 63 against the Chargers the next week.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
watch it. Watch it be like 5-3.
I would, I would be miserable watching it, but I would love it in hindsight.
Yeah, it'd be something.
Yeah.
But
Or
anywho,
genuinely, do we actually see a pro lacrosse shutout? I really thought that was going to happen.
I wanted that so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted that so bad. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. So
it's a shutout not because one team's goalie steadied on its head. It's just the other team's offense
just
like
sucks.
just can't hit the net.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Probably not likely
Anyways,
to see that, but something to tune in for on Friday night if you got nothing else.
maybe. Never say never.
Um, yeah. So no game this weekend, unfortunately. Hopefully
Hmm.
you can find it in your heart to enjoy one of the other seven teams playing this weekend. And join us. Podcast will come out Monday evening. So if you want to listen to that then or Tuesday morning, we'll be on with Coach Holman where we will just grill him about Will Manny for 45 minutes. And until then, go Cannons.
Go Cannons. Boom.
Boom.